Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 1 Minute Breakdown, where we break down this upcoming cards fights in a minute or less, or at least we try to. We keep it really short and concise. Um, Last week, another great week, great success. Uh, that's four winning events in a row. We went up 4.88 units on the track side, and then prize picks, we went up another 4.5 units. So we've been running really hot and looking to continue this hot streak. So without further ado, if you guys haven't already, please like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. I will be answering all the questions throughout the stream, so feel free to ask all the questions you want. I already see Lou in here with the analyses. Hey, I have a hot take on that one. It might be leaning that way, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, let's dive right in. First fight of the night, we have Veronica Hardy going up against Juliana Miller. Veronica Hardy been absent from the cage for 3 years now. She's making her comeback, and she's a very big, like size underdog at plus 325. Juliana Miller coming off of the Ultimate Fighter, winning the final, and she has a lot of holes in her game. She's still very green, but she's a finisher. She likes to finish fights. Once she gets in the dominant position, she always looks for the finish. Relentless with the jiu-jitsu, and she is more of a grappler. I'm going to say that first. Her striking is god awful. Now, what's odd to me is the price. I think the line is very wide, and I might have to take a stab on Hardy myself because Hardy has faced the better brand of competition. Yeah, she's lost to Bea Malecki, which is a horrible look. Bea Malecki is bad, and oddly enough, she beat Polyana Viana by submission, lost to Jillian Robertson, no shame in that, and lost to Andrea Lee, no shame in that. So for me, I think the only way to play this is either Hardy Hardy money line or Juliana Miller, Jesus, uh, Juliana Miller inside the distance if the line is appropriate. But maybe this fight is just one to watch. I'm actually looking forward to it. Anyways, on to the next fight. It's okay, Lou. I'll go ahead and I'll pronounce it right next time. Shout out to KRX, always in the chat for the support. Thank you, my brother. Next up, we have Ludovic Klein going up against Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert's going to be much bigger in this fight. He's going to have a 5-inch height advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage. So that's going to play into factor if he's able to pressure Ludovic Klein. The way Ludovic Klein wins this fight is if he pressures Jai Herbert, negates that 5-inch reach advantage, and just pressure boxes him, maybe goes for a couple of takedowns because Jai Herbert can get taken down by a gust of wind. A gust of wind, sorry. Jai Herbert obviously has power in the hands. He can end this fight anytime if he lands cleanly. So can Ludovic Klein, Mr. Highlight. He was looked up to as a really good prospect when he came into the UFC, but just got dealt the wrong cards, and he faced some pretty tough opponents. Nate Landwehr is a dog. Mike Trezano, I wouldn't say the same there, but looking to improve. Then he beat Devontae Smith, decent win. Then he beat Mason Jones, which is as a huge underdog there at over plus 300. Very good win there. I do like Ludovic Klein here. I haven't pulled the trigger on his money line yet, but it got away from me. I think he wins this fight because he has more ways to end the fight. He can grapple. He can get the submissions. He can knock Jai Herbert out because Jai Herbert also, his chin is not that well. It's not that durable. Jai Herbert, I think the only way he wins here is by knockout. So if you want to play his money line, just play the knockout instead. I don't think he wins a decision here. But yeah, give me Ludovic Klein inside the distance for the win here. Next up, we have a fight that if you bet on, you're probably going to jail, as Uncle Weezy and Brady said. We have Joanne Wood going up against Luana Carolina. Joanne Wood obviously is the much older fighter here at a 8-year age disadvantage. And Luana Carolina is going to have the reach advantage here by 3.5 inches. Here's the thing. Joanne Wood is the much better fighter. If she is anywhere near how she was like 2 years ago, then she's going to win this fight. She's going to cruise. But lately, we haven't seen her show the will of being in the octagon, show the will of winning. And she's also talked about retirement. I think this might be her last fight. So there's always that angle, the retirement angle that never fails us. Man, just can't. And then the angle of betting on the younger fighter with 5 years or younger, 5 years or more, usually it's a 63% chance to win. Luana Carolina is horrible, but the reach might help here and the youth. I think she wants to win this fight. I wouldn't mind a dog shot on Luana Carolina, but do not bet this fight for whatever reason. If you think you're going to bet this fight, if you're going to bet Luana Carolina or Joanne Wood laying chalk with the 37-year-old who's talking about retirement, may God ease your heart during this fight. But I'm predicting Joanne Wood to get the win and retire. Next up, we have a really good fight. We have Jake Hadley going up against Malcolm Gordon. Jake Hadley, off the bounce back win last time against Carlos Candelario, really just grappled him into a decision. Oh, sorry, to submission. And Malcolm Gordon, obviously, his last fight was against Makai. He lost by that last-minute armbar. But you know what? Malcolm Gordon impressed me in that last fight. He did show that he can grab a little bit. Just the wrestling, obviously, if you're getting pressure wrestled, then you're going to lose. And his IQ is questionable, obviously. I mean, the money line side is it's minus 335 for Hadley, so I'm not going to really argue against Hadley here. I think he wins this matchup any which way he wants to, but Hadley's also still very green, in my opinion. So I think he can make a couple of mistakes and possibly get knocked out. But no, I think Hadley takes this fight. I wouldn't say this is a confident parlay piece on my end. So I'm probably just going to be watching this one. Next up, we have Chris Leroy Duncan. There's two Chris Duncans on this card. So make sure if you're betting either of them or both, you're betting the right one. Going up against Dusko Todorovic. Chris Leroy Duncan, the former CFFC Cage Warriors champion, and making his debut here in the UFC finally in his hometown in London. Going up against Dusko Todorovic, who's more of a, I want to say, grappler to wrestler. His striking is okay, but his chin is just not there. I think Chris Leroy Duncan's going to get this done inside the distance. I think he's going to be able to knock Dusko Todorovic out. Now, this might extend into the second or third round, so it might be a little bit sweaty. And I don't know, man. I think this is the fight, as KRX is asking here, the round 2 and 3 props. I think this is the fight to mess with them. Duncan round 2, Duncan round 3. I think that's the most likely outcome for him to knock out Dusko. Even if you want to pick method as Chris Leroy Duncan round 2, round knockout, that's probably how I would lean towards this fight. I think he has all the tools. He's a better striker, better wrestler, and has the better cardio. So give me Chris Leroy Duncan. I am on the fence of playing him. I will be playing the round 2 and round 3 props, though. Next up, we have a fight between Lerone Murphy going up against Gabriel Santos. Gabriel Santos is a really good fighter, but the issue is he's making his day on a 10-day notice. Going up against Lerone Murphy, who is a very technical boxer, it's going to be tough. Lerone Murphy carries a lot of power. We haven't seen Santos get knocked out at all. Obviously, he's 10-0, but we've seen him hurt a couple of times. And his competition's all right. It's not like he's facing cans, but at the same time, 10-day notice, traveling from Brazil to London, that's going to take a toll on going up against the hometown kid in Lerone Murphy. I got to lean Murphy here. I did play Murphy on the money line at minus 155. I believe currently it's around minus 165 to 170. So I think that's just about accurate. I think there's an edge when it comes to that line. I think Murphy's going to be able to outbox him and possibly knock him out with like a flying knee, I think, because Gabriel Santos is going for these weird takedowns. And Lerone caught, caught Amir Khani in his last fight. So I think he can do it again here, pull it out of the bag with that flying knee. Next up, Muhammad Makai going up against Jafel Filho. I'm just going to say Filho. We have Mukayev here, obviously undefeated prospect. He's a huge favorite. Lines at minus 850 to minus 900, depending on where you find him. I don't know, man. Jafel Filho is pretty decent, but I'm not going to say he's going to win. I'm predicting Mukayev to win, but Jafel Filho is not a bum. I think he can hang in the striking, that's for sure. The wrestling is going to be the issue. But if it stays on the feet, I'd be nervous if people are parlaying up Mukayev. But I think Mokaev ends up getting this done by submission or decision. So there's really no way to play this fight other than maybe goes to decision. But even then, I'm not confident. I think Mokaev can get the sub. Next up, we have Sam Patterson going up against Yanal Ashmos. Is that right, Lou? Did I get that one right? Excuse me. Sam Patterson coming off of the Contender Series, really good striker, really good grappler. Obviously, he's lengthy. We don't know the reach on Yanal Ashmos, but 6'3" compared to 5'9", person with the height advantage, 78-inch reach. He's probably going to be at around like the 3 to 4-inch reach advantage here. I think Sam Patterson's going to be able to knock Ashmos out. I think he's going to be able to submit him. I think Ashmos has the opportunity to knock Sam Patterson out because Sam Patterson does not cover his face and he does not move his head off the center line. So I think this fight ends inside the distance. I'm going to have to look for the line for it. But I think this fight is more of a violence play than anything. I think Sam Patterson does get it done, but I'm not ruling out the possibility of Yanal Ashmos getting the knockout here too, because he throws everything from the hips with power, with fight-ending intention. So there's no way I'm going to lay the chalk with Sam Patterson. He's still unproven, still has that hole where he just does not move his head off the center line. So give me Sam Patterson as the money line like lean, but for me the bet's going to be fight ends inside the distance. Next up, oh, and one thing to note, Yanal Ashmos is coming off of the horrible Israeli regional scene. So that's another thing. It could just be a very bad tape. Next up, we have the second Chris Duncan going up against Omar Morales. And this fight is pretty much lined evenly. Omar Morales, obviously, almost 9 years older than Chris Duncan. And the issue I have with Morales is just he's very low volume. He doesn't really throw much. He just likes to throw these haymakers every once in a while and keep the fight at distance. And then with Chris Duncan, the issue is that he just he has no durability. I don't know how he's on the roster. Obviously, he had the Contender Series win, which I think that was a fluke win. He got knocked down and then somehow pulled it out of the bag and knocked his opponent down in that first round. But Chris Duncan is just a decent boxer, decent wrestler, but the defense is the issue. He gets cracked in every single fight. And Omar Morales, I mean, he has power. All it takes is one. And I mean, Chris Duncan is not even durable at all. So it'll take that one and he'll knock him out. But I'm not gonna lean anywhere on this fight. I think this fight's more to take a lunch break between this card because it's an early card. Moneyline lean is gonna be Omar Morales though. Next up, we have Jack Shore going up against Makwan Amirkhani. Jack Shore is a heavy favorite here on minus 550 to 570, depending on where you find it. And here's the thing with Makwan, we all know him as a really good grappler, really good wrestler, but his cardio is always proven to be horrible. We also know him as having the best topology picture, as you can see. But here's the thing, Makwan Amirkhani is very live in the first round, but after this first round, he's going to gas out, and Jack Shore is just going to lay it on him. He could get him out of there after the first. So Jack Shore, second and third round props is probably the way I'm going to look to play this fight, as long as the odds are somewhat decent. But no way I'm going to lay the minus 500 because I think there could be a meme sub in that first round from Makwan. He's done it before, so I can't rule it out. But yeah, I think Jack Shore will get this done. Next fight, we have Marvin Vittori going up against Roman Dolidze. Marvin Vittori, obviously alternating wins and losses in his last 4 fights. His last loss was against Robert Whittaker, obviously, who pieced him up. But that's the thing, it's Robert Whittaker. He does that to everyone. He makes everyone look horrible. Things I like about Vittori in this fight is he has the cardio, he has the wrestling, and he's a better boxer. Dolidze, sure, that first round he's going to come out throwing haymakers, but in that Hermanson fight in the second round, we saw that he did gas out. He looked really slow, but then pulled off the sub. He pulled off the calf slicer or the bar. Now, it's hard to play this fight on either moneyline side. I think Vittori is the right side, just based off of his experience, based off his strength of schedule. the cardio advantage that he has, the boxing advantage he has. But Dolidze just seems to pull it out of the bag every time. I still think Vittori is going to be the one that's going to have his hand raised at the end of this fight, probably by decision or maybe round 3 knockout. So give me Vittori. Um, Not too confident though. Next fight, we have the return of Casey O'Neill after her ACL rupture injury, going up against Jennifer Maia. Casey O'Neill obviously is the fighter that has the age advantage here, 9 years younger than Jennifer Maia. Casey O'Neill is going to be the better boxer, the better stand-up fighter, but Jennifer Maia, I think, is the better ground game player. And I think the money lines are just about right, given the age advantage, given the striking advantage, a significant striking advantage. But the thing is, I can't play Casey O'Neill here because we just haven't seen her in so long. Her last fight was a year ago, and we don't know how that ACL recovery is. I mean, obviously, you could check the Instagram and stuff, but that's all deceiving. You don't know how it is inside the fight, in the fight positions. So I would be playing Casey O'Neill if the price was a little bit cheaper and if I was a little bit more certain about how she recovered from the injury, because I think she does win this fight pretty often. But it's just the injury is holding me back, man. I think she has a better cardio here too. But yeah, at this point, it's Jennifer Maia, dog or pass. But not too interested in that fight. Next up, we have Gunnar Nelson coming on to fight Brian Barbarina on short notice. Barbarina is just under a month. He had the notice just under a month. So here's the thing. We all know Brian Barbarina's hole, the glaring hole in his game is the takedown defense, the wrestling, the grappling. On the feet, he can slug it out, but his cardio tends to fail him. And at the short notice, along with, I mean, him being, I mean, he seems like he's older than he actually is. Gunnar Nelson is the older fighter here. But if you look at the guys, you think Gunnar Nelson is much younger. Gunnar Nelson, predominantly a wrestler and a grappler. I think Gunnar Nelson is going to immediately shoot for takedowns in this fight. He's going to be successful in getting them, and he'll probably get Brian Barbarina out in the second round via submission. I know Brian Barbarina is pretty durable, and he's only been subbed twice now in his career after his last loss against Rafael dos Anjos. But I think Gunnar Nelson is probably going to be able to sub him here by rear naked choke because he's a better grappler and that's his game. Like he rode in the back of Takashi Sato. I know that wasn't impressive at all, but he was dominating the fight just by staying on the back. So as long as he's able to take Brian Barbarina down, I think Gunnar Nelson should be fine. I think he's a viable parlay piece up to like minus 500, minus 550. So give me Gunny. In the co-main event spot, we have a matchup between Justin Gaethje going up against Rafael Physiv. And Rafael Physiv, I'm going to tell you guys, he is a fighter that I have been waiting to watch again, waiting to see in the cage. Someone who I think is one of the best boxers in the division, maybe in the UFC. You see his Muay Thai background, you see the kickboxing. This guy is immensely talented in the kickboxing and the boxing range. And then you look at Justin Gaethje, obviously, he's a brawler. He'll go in there and he goes balls to the wall. Cardio tends to fail him versus Physiv. His cardio does not tend to fail him. We saw him in that the 5-round fight that he had where he did hold up against Rafael dos Anjos and he put a beating on a legend in Rafael dos Anjos. And Physiv, I think he's going to be able to stay out of danger, and I think he's going to be able to knock Justin Gaethje out in the first 2 rounds. That's the way I'm looking at the fight. I am very upset that I did not pull the trigger a couple of weeks ago at the minus 115, minus 120 range for Physiv. Now it's skyrocketed to minus 230, 235. But I think he's going to be able to get Justin Gaethje out of there in that first or second round. He's just more technical than Justin Gaethje. He's a lot faster and he's a lot more durable. And he hits hard. The man is fast and he hits hard. So all that, like if you combine all of that, it's a problem for a guy like Justin Gaethje because he's not the fastest person and he tends to gas out. If you put a pace on him in that first, you'll get him out in a second. So give me Rafael Physiv. I'm pretty confident in this pick. And last but not least, we have the main event of the evening, Leon Edwards trying to defend his belt in his hometown, going up against Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman obviously is the favorite again at around minus 230 to 260. It's a pretty weird market there. Here's the thing. we we hear the talks about Kamaru Usman with the shot knees. His knees are destroyed. He has to get injections almost every week to help his knees and like not to numb the pain, pretty much, from the wrestling. And then you look at the last fight. Obviously, he dominated Leon Edwards until that fifth round where he got knocked out. Now, Leon Edwards mentioned that like the altitude in Colorado, it killed him, and along with a lot of the other fighters in the card that are not used to that atmosphere and that altitude. So it is definitely a more favorable position here for Leon Edwards, being in his hometown, not being in altitude. He won't struggle with the cardio. Kamaru Usman is someone that trains in Colorado, so he doesn't tend to struggle with that at all. He's acclimated there. It's going to be a very close fight. I don't suggest betting Kamaru Usman because I think at this point it's a tough ask, just because given the injuries that we've heard of recently, given that we saw him like not even be able to walk on concrete. Like in an interview, he said, "I cannot walk on concrete." It was to that point where he had his knees severely compromised. So if Leon Edwards is smart, he's going to be going towards those knees. He's going to be kicking the shit out of them. And since it's not at altitude, he's not going to struggle with the cardio, as I mentioned before. I think Leon is the better boxer, but Kamaru, if he gets off on the wrestling, I think he wins this. If Leon's able to keep this on the feet, I think he wins it. So it's a toss up for me. I think this is a dog or pass situation for sure, where you see this all the time, where someone who has been a champion for so long, after they get dethroned, it's more than likely that the next fight they lose again in that rematch. It's happened time and time again. So I just can't. I think Kamaru Usman's time is up. He's fallen from grace. He's a little bit older now at 35 with all those lingering injuries. I can only look towards the Leon Edwards side, but I don't even know if I'm going to get to the window with it. But yeah, that was fun. I'm looking forward to this card. I still think it's not the best pay-per-view event that we've had. It's somewhat short, but fights are fights. We get to bet on them. Get to make money, and obviously we like the violence, so we'll stay watching. But guys, if you haven't already, please like the video, leave a comment, and then subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 300 subscribers. If you guys do enjoy these videos, please let me know. If you think of any other concepts that you want me to do, different video types or video ideas, feel free to hit my DMs on Twitter at WizBets, and I'm always open, and I will always respond. I'll guarantee you that. But until next week, I will see you guys later. Peace.